You're not lazy, you're not undisciplined, and you're definitely not unlucky. You've just been trained to fail. And the worst part? You think it's normal. Think about your life for a second. How many times have you told yourself, "This time I'll be serious"? You felt that sudden motivation, that burst of energy, that belief that now everything will change. You planned everything. You imagined a better version of yourself. Focused, disciplined, successful. And for a moment, it felt real, but then slowly, it faded. You stopped showing up. You delayed things. You got distracted. And eventually, you quit. Not loudly, not dramatically, but silently. You just disappeared from your own goals. And then you told yourself, "I'll restart tomorrow." But tomorrow never came. And now you think your problem is motivation. That if you just felt more inspired, more driven, everything would change. But that's a lie. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. And if your life depends on motivation, you will always fail. Because your brain doesn't care about your goals. It cares about your safety. And safety means comfort. No risks, no pressure, no discomfort. So every time you try to improve your life, your brain sees it as a threat. Because change is unknown. And unknown feels dangerous. So it stops you. Not directly, but intelligently. It doesn't say, "Quit." It says, "Take a break." It doesn't say, "Stop working." It says, "You can do it later." It doesn't say, "You're failing." It says, "You just need more time." And you believe it because it sounds logical. But it's not logic. It's manipulation. Every time you listen to that voice, you lose control. You train your brain to avoid effort. You reinforce weakness. And slowly, it becomes automatic. You don't even think anymore. You just delay, avoid, escape. And this is where it gets dangerous. Because you're not just failing once. You're building a pattern. Every time you quit, you become better at quitting. Every time you avoid, you become more comfortable avoiding. And one day, you don't need excuses anymore. It becomes your identity. You stop being someone who tries, and you become someone who almost tries. And that's the most painful place to be. Because you're close enough to feel regret, but not strong enough to change. Look around you. There are people with less talent, less intelligence, less resources, still moving ahead. Why? Because they don't wait. They don't negotiate with their mind. They act, even when they don't feel like it. That's the difference. You think success comes from motivation, but it actually comes from control. And right now, you don't have control. You're addicted, not to failure, but to comfort. Scrolling, watching, avoiding effort, choosing easy over important. Again and again, your brain loves it because it's simple, predictable, safe. But here's the problem. The more comfort you choose, the weaker you become, and the more uncomfortable real work feels. That's why you can't focus. That's why discipline feels painful. That's why consistency feels impossible. Not because you're incapable, but because you're trained for comfort. And now your brain rejects effort. So every time you try to change, it pulls you back. And you think, this is hard. But the truth is, you're just not used to it. You don't lack ability. You lack tolerance for discomfort. And until you fix that, nothing will change. Not your habits, not your mindset, not your life. Because the real problem is not outside. It's inside your head. And here's the harsh truth. No one is coming to fix it. No one is coming to push you. No one is coming to save you. If you don't take control, you will repeat this cycle forever. Ça me plans, ça m'excuse, ça me regret. Different days. So the question is not, can you change your life? The real question is, Are you finally ready to stop choosing comfort and start choosing control? Because once you see this pattern, you can't unsee it. And once you break it, everything changes. But until then, you'll keep living the same life, on repeat,